Camera's off.
Is,
Open it?
no, I don't know.
No, open.
You know, oh,
Oh,
okay.
there we are.
Maybe. Can you minimize that, or is that,
That's loud.
I think we should be hearing something. There.
Send it.
Can we type?
Sorry, folks. I'm going to start this slow. The most common septic systems in this area are Class 1 privies. These are composting toilets and outhouses. Class 2 gray water systems. These can be large and can only accept gray water. Sinks, showers, and laundry produce gray water. Class 4 leaching bed systems. These are the most common types of septic systems, consisting of a septic tank and a leaching bed. Class 5 holding tanks. These systems require an audio-visual alarm and a haulage contract with a pumper. These contracts are Ontario Building Code requirements. If you have a holding tank and don't have a contract, please contact your pumper. The separation, settling. Everything that goes down your drains ends up in the tank. Inside it naturally separates into 3 layers: scum, the top, sludge at the bottom, and effluent in the middle. The breakdown. Bacteria living in the tank go to work eating the organic solids in the sludge and scum, breaking them down so the tank doesn't fill up too quickly. The exit. As new wastewater enters the tank, the middle layer of clear water, effluent, is pushed out through an outlet pipe. It travels to the drain field, where it slowly seeps into the ground, and the soil acts as a final natural filter. There are different types of Class 4 septic systems, but they all basically work with the same concept. They have a tank, sometimes several, and a leaching bed. How a septic system works. The septic tank offers primary treatment. The septic tank does 30 to 50% of treatment, separating sludge and scum from clear water, effluent. Bacteria consume some of the solids and scum, but they can't digest everything. Therefore, the tank needs to be pumped. The tank's capacity should be sized to retain what you flush now for a day and a half. This ensures adequate time for the separation. When new waste enters the tank, the same amount of treated effluent leaves the tank. Secondary treatment occurs in the leaching bed. Once the effluent reaches the leaching bed, the real cleaning begins. As effluent travels through the sand layer, it filters the organic waste, and oxygen-loving bacteria consume the waste. Effluent is cleaned up to 90% once it reaches the bottom of the septic bed sand. The last 10% cleaning is accomplished in the underlying soils before it reaches the water table. Healthy versus clogged, protecting our watershed. A biological mat forms on top of the sand layer and in the stone over time. This mat becomes too thick for water to penetrate, causing foul odors, ponding, and breakouts. At this point, the leaching bed has failed and needs to be replaced. To avoid overloading your system, space out laundry and showers. Overloading can flush untreated effluent into your leaching bed, causing premature failure. Chemicals kill the good bacteria in your system. These bacteria are critical for your system's performance. Pumping every 3 to 5 years ensures your tank's capacity can retain the effluent until the scum floats and the solids sink, sending only pre-treated clear liquid into the leaching bed. The bottom line, a well-maintained system ensures that black water is turned into clear water before it reaches the environment. Proper maintenance protects your property value, your neighbors, and the beautiful lakes of Minden Hills. Procedures for the inspections. You will receive a letter informing you of the upcoming inspection, and you will be provided with an inspection date, a questionnaire, and information including frequently asked question page. Prior to your inspection date, the lids of your tank or tanks must be exposed. On the day of your inspection, a visual surface check will be conducted. Inspectors look for surface ponding, sewage odors, or unusually lush grass over the bed. A component check will also be completed. Verification of tank lids, baffle condition, and effluent filters and scum and sludge measurements, and liquid level will be verified. The normal operating level is at the bottom of the outlet pipe. Pumps and alarms are activated to ensure pump and alarm are functioning as intended. Measurements to structures will be noted. Structures such as sheds, decks, pools, and fire pits should not be built on or near the leaching bed or on the tank. Lid and riser checks, ensuring lids are secure, watertight, and free of cracks or breaks. Baffle condition, checking that the inlet and the outlet baffles are intact to prevent solids from entering the leaching bed. The operating level, verifying the liquid is at the correct height, typically at the bottom of the outlet pipe. This is an image of a replaced inlet baffle. You can see the small piece of the original concrete baffle. This is an image of a clogged effluent filter. These filters became building code in 2006. Any systems installed after this date are required to have a filter. The inspector will pull the filter and clean it. These filters should be cleaned yearly. Failing to do so can cause backups into the house. Measurement of sludge and scum. If the combined is greater than 1/3 of the tank's capacity, a pump out is required. Testing pumps, alarms, and float switches for systems that aren't gravity fed. Cleaning the effluent filter to prevent clogs. The pump and the audio-visual alarm will be tested. How to prepare. Locate your tank. Find your lids, usually 1.5 meters from the house. Not always. Use a metal probe or consult your original septic permit. Septic tanks usually have 2 lids and pump chambers 1. All lids are required to be unearthed. Uncover tank lids and remove any heavy objects, planters, or debris. If you have the history, you provide the history to the inspector. It will help determine things like how often you should pump. Signs of a failing system. Indoor clues, gurgling pipes, slow-moving drains, or sewage backups. Outdoor clues can include ponding, foul-smelling standing water near the tank or bed. Lush grass, isolated patches of extra bright or spongy green grass. And odors. It smells like rotten eggs. Homeowner do's and don'ts. Do pump your tank every 3 to 5 years. Use water efficiently to avoid hydraulic overloading. Clean your effluent filter annually. Don't flush flushable wipes, grease, or chemicals. Don't drive or park vehicles on leaching bed. Don't plant trees or shrubs near the pipes. Roots can cause major blockages. Inspection outcomes. No concerns. System is operating as intended. Or remedial work, minor repairs needed. Example, cracked lids, filters that need cleaning, although I'll be doing that when I'm on site. Replacement required if the system poses a risk to human health or the environment. Notifications. You will be notified of any deficiency by email or mail and given a time frame for corrections. Timelines for remedial action repairs. Urgent failure, 30 days. Pump out infractions, 60 days. Component repairs, 75 days. Equipment install, like alarms, 90 days. Major system replacement, 120 days. That's from the day of inspection until the septic final is done. Myths and facts. Myth number 1. If I don't have a problem, I don't need to pump my tank. Fact. Sludge builds up silently. By the time you notice a problem, a backup, or a smell, solids may have already pushed into the leaching bed, causing permanent, expensive damage. Most tanks need pumping every 3 to 5 years. Myth number 2. I should use additives or starters to keep the bacteria healthy. Fact. You don't need them. Your waste provides all the natural bacteria your system requires. Some additives can actually liquefy solids, allowing them to float out and clog your tile bed pipes. Myth number 3. If it says flushable on the box, it must be safe to flush. Fact, flushable wipes do not break down like toilet paper. They snag on baffles and plug pumps, leading to major blockages and emergency repair bills. If it's not the 3 Ps, pee, poop, or paper, it goes in the trash. Myth number 4. I can plant a vegetable garden or small trees over my leaching bed. Fact, roots are the #1 enemy of pipes. Even small shrubs can find their way into the perforations and choke the system. Stick to shallow rooting grasses or wildflowers. Myth number 5. The more water I use to flush the system out, the better. Fact, excessive water, like doing 5 loads of laundry in one day, causes hydraulic overload. This pushes young waste out of the tank before it has time to settle, sending solids straight into your leaching bed. Myth number 6. Bleach and heavy cleaners are fine in small amounts. Fact, while a very little is okay, excessive use of bleach, drain cleaners, or antibacterial soaps kills the good bacteria that treat your waste. Use septic-friendly or biodegradable cleaners whenever possible. It is time for the question period. Does anybody have any questions? If you do, raise your hand.
Oh, okay.
End it before you figure it out.
Yeah, hello. I do have a question. What about cottages with old steel tanks that don't have a normal septic system? They've got the old metal tanks.
So the steel tanks haven't been really used since the middle of the 60s. And from my experience, by the time you dig them up, they look like Swiss cheese now.
Yeah.
So all metal tanks need to be replaced.
How's that part of the system? So we couldn't hear the first part of the presentation. So was that part of part of the opening remarks? Like, what do people do if they have those as part of the process?
If you have a metal tank, contact the building department. If you are working on getting a permit to replace your tank, I won't come out and do the inspection. So you'll save the inspection fee. And I'll guide you through the permit process.
Okay, perfect. And I guess the letter that goes out to people, if it says if you have that, it'll tell you to call your building department, or we just have to know from watching this video?
It does say in the information package that if you have a metal tank, contact the building department.
Okay, perfect.
Is it possible to schedule a particular time for the inspection?
If a day or like an exact time, I can't give you. If the day doesn't work, I can reschedule the appointment. If you give me a call, I can give you an idea of what time of day the inspection will be, but obviously it depends on the inspections that come before you.
Well, I'm wondering particularly over the next few weeks when many cottages won't be open yet, or people won't be there on a regular basis.
If there's a problem with the inspection date, give me a call. I'm more than willing to accommodate and change the appointment.
Thank you.
Just curious about there's a zone D1 and D2. I
Mhm.
think the D2 you're doing later because there's no letters been sent out yet, I
No.
think.
So far, I've only scheduled the D1 appointments, and they run into the beginning of September. And then we're gonna start on D2, but I won't get all of D2 done. Those letters will go out in July.
It's people calling that.
Okay.
Asked a question about outhouses.
Mhm.
'Cause I have an outhouse that hasn't been used in about 10 years. I'm not sure what the standards are for outhouses and if there's a problem, whether I can just remove it and fill in the hole and be done with it.
I do recommend if you're not using it, then get rid of it. Fill the hole in, get rid of the structure.
Okay, thank you.
How do I go about getting a copy of the original permit for a newer septic system?
Good question. You can, there's an application on our website, or I can also email it to you for a septic search. And
Okay,
we can see if we can find the record. I can't find them all. The health department started keeping records in about 1971 is the earliest one I've seen.
yeah,
If it's after that, there's a good chance I can find it.
okay, so no, it's definitely after that, but would that copy of the permit and whatnot, would it also give size of tanks, distance from the building or from the property line? Would it give that information on that as well?
Absolutely. It has a list of everything that was installed. And usually it comes along with a diagram that shows where all the components are.
Okay. Okay, and so how do I go about, will you contact me so I can ask you for that information, or how do I go about getting that information?
So you can email me or call me.
Okay,
The email is MHSRP. So the first letter of Minden Hills Septic Re-Inspection Program
yeah,
at mindenhills.ca. I can give you my phone number too, if you want.
that'd be perfect.
It's 705
Yeah,
286 1260
sorry, 705
286
286, yep,
1260 extension 517.
517. Okay, and the only other question I had was the comments about having the system pumped out every 3 to 5 years. We are a seasonal cottage. We have a three-piece washroom and a kitchen sink. That's all that runs into that system. We don't have laundry, and like I said, we're only there seasonally, so we might be there 5 or 6 months of the year. Is that still a requirement to pump it out that often?
I think it's a property by property, you know, it depends how much it's used. It depends on a lot of things, but if you're not feeding that system, your sludge isn't getting eaten by the bacteria. The bacteria kind of go to sleep if they have no food.
Right,
So that's why cottages over the winter time are fine, because those bacteria, they don't die off.
right.
They just go to sleep if they don't have any food.
I see. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm curious, what if somebody's had a new septic put in the last few years? Is there a pass? Do you still need to inspect it if it was just recently installed?
If it was installed within the last 5 years, you're exempt.
Oh, that's good to know.
That'd be in the letter.
Yeah. Is that in the letter? Because I didn't see that on the website. I think that'd be useful because I know a lot of people that have had their septics recently installed, and it'd be good to
Yes.
know.
So I've tried to weed out all the properties that have new septics. I know I've missed some. I've got calls that some were missed. So if you do have a newer system and you got a letter, just give me a call. And
Oh, I see. You're just not sending it out to people that you know that have new ones. I see. Okay.
can ask.
Hello, I have a question. I have a cottage that's only water accessible,
Uh-huh.
and we have not really a septic system. We have sort of like a gray water with like a rain barrel underground that's got holes in it and stuff. Now, what's the rules on that?
If you were trying to put that in today, it would not pass. But I'm not looking for today's building code. I'm looking to see if what you have works.
Yeah, well, it works. Like in fact, it's the second time we put it in. We redid it years ago when it was, I guess it got clogged. So
Hmm.
now I wouldn't say it's new, but it's working. Like we have no problems of any backups or any leach, like seeing water coming out from the ground or anything. So I just wonder, you say, well, we can't dig it up and show it to you. So, or would that have to be done?
A gray water pit should have an access, so you can check on it.
Okay. All right. So I guess we'd have to dig that out for you
Yeah,
because it's underground. Like you can't see it.
yeah, it would be, I need to see it, so.
All right. All right. Thank you.
How late in the season will you do the inspections? Like I said, if you're starting D2 in September, will you go into November or how late, do you know?
I'm thinking November might be too late. We usually have already, get a little bit of snow by then.
Yeah,
October for sure.
okay.
Just a quick question here. I think it might have been spoken to, but I just want to make sure. If there is already a permit that's been issued for a new system going in, would that be exempt from the inspection at this point?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much.
If you got a letter and you have a new permit in, give me a call.
Okay. I don't think we got a letter yet, but just wanted to make sure. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you mention earlier that you require to see a receipt for your last pump out?
No, I don't necessarily need to see the receipt. I would need to see a receipt if I did the inspection and you are required to pump your tank out, you can just send me a receipt that it's been pumped and I can close that file.
Okay, so you don't need I can just tell you when our last pump out was, but you
Right.
don't need a receipt.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Question on outhouses. Somebody raised it up earlier. If you want to keep your outhouse as a backup, what I saw something in the online about you are going to inspect them and you're looking for that it's vermin proof and that the pit isn't exposed. So I get the pit being exposed, but vermin proof, you mean like that mice can't get in? Because most cottages you can't say is vermin proof, let alone your outhouse.
And that is building code. It also needs to have a vent.
Okay. But the vermin, like mouse proof, how can you really show that and for
Do the best you can.
okay, like really most cottages aren't, so I just wanted to point that out.
If my existing system is buried and I have to access the lids for you to inspect them, how far in advance will I know when you're coming? In other words, or am I required to come up with the proper risers so that it's not a matter of digging down 4 or 5 or 6 feet for you to inspect them?
So a tank should only be buried maximum 1 meter. I still wouldn't want to dig that up every time. I personally would install risers. I am not asking anybody to do that. I mean, if you don't want to dig it up, that's what you should do. You will have, the letter will give you an inspection date. So
Okay.
once you get your letter, you'll know which day I'm coming.
I see. Okay. So I'll have plenty of time to find those lids and make it accessible for you.
Yeah, like I said, if you're in zone D2 and you're in this year's inspection zone, you'll have those letters in July.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question I have is, if our inspection is later in September, October, and we've decided to already close our cottage because I have some my parents are elderly, so we can tend to close the cottage earlier, and you have your inspection coming. Do I have to come back to do that inspection because we have the boat taken out? Again, it's water access only. So would we have to reschedule that, or how would it work?
If the inspection date doesn't work for you, call me. I
Okay.
am more than willing to reschedule, even if it's
Okay.
next year.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you.
Anybody else? Well, thanks everybody for joining. It doesn't sound like there's any more questions. So if you think of anything else that you want to ask me, email me, call me.
Cheryl, it's Dave Han. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you hear me okay?
I didn't hear the first part.
Oh, Cheryl, it's Dave Han. I was emailing with you a couple of weeks back, I guess, but just I put a question in the chat and I didn't see it get answered. And one of the other gentlemen asked a similar question, but we're seasonal cottagers. Our system's about 5 years old, I think, when we put it in. I can't remember the exact date. But you said pump out every 3 to 5 years. Now we open the cottage probably this weekend and close it on Thanksgiving. And we're up not full time through the summer. We're kind of up back and forth. So we're not using it full time, clearly, and don't use it 12 months of the year. So I'm just wondering if that 3 to 5 year guideline still applies. Like we put the new system in, Brent Coltman put it in for us, but I haven't had it pumped yet. And I'm guessing I probably should, but should I do it before you guys come or should I wait or?
Okay, so you shouldn't pump before I come, even if you're due for a pump out. I need to
Okay.
see the tank full. And
Okay.
your pumper will give you a better idea of how often you need to pump.
Okay.
They're really good at, letting you know.
Okay. But I shouldn't pump it before you come, which sounds like it'll be in the fall sometime.
Right, no.
Okay.
Not unless you use enough water that the tank will be full by your inspection date.
I suspect not. But we don't have laundry facilities either. So we don't.
I would hold off. Are you in zone D2?
Yes. Yeah, we're on Bob Lake. So yes.
If you give me a call, I'll be able to give you a better idea of whether you'll be inspected this year or not.
Okay. Yep. Will do.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks so much for this.
I actually have a question if it's available.
Go ahead.
You talked about the bacteria going dormant over a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Approximately how long does that take? We're seasonal cottagers as well. Sometimes over winter periods, it can be 6 months at a time that we're not actually there. How long does that bacteria go dormant for before it's not?
It depends what's in your tank. If they have food and it's not too cold, then they will keep doing their job. And once it gets too cold or they don't have food, they'll go to sleep.
Right. So then just regular usage of the toilets and such will reinstate that bacteria?
Yes. Yeah.
Because we had our tank pumped last year. We were just due for it based on timing. But he did say that we had enough time to make sure that there was still some stuff in the tank for the winter period, I guess.
I didn't really quite hear that. Can you repeat that?
We had to have our tank pumped last year,
Uh-huh.
but there probably wasn't much use other than maybe a handful of weekends there. So there wouldn't really be that much in the tank over the winter period, I guess was my concern.
Yeah, okay, so are you were still asking about the bacteria?
Well, no, I guess my question was answered that regular use would activate that again.
One thing I do recommend is not to pump before the winter. Don't leave it too late. You don't want that tank with not a lot in it for the winter time, especially the plastic tanks, because with the spring thaw, those tanks can float.
Yes, we have a concrete tank.
I've even seen concrete tanks float.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other questions? No? Well, thanks everybody for joining us. I hope you learned something tonight. And we'll see you on your inspection day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks very much.